As we can see here in the world around us, there's a devastating rise in the levels of conflict that we're witnessing.
رجعنا من الحرب كنا كتير خايفين. كان في حوالينا قالوا لنا في قنابل عنقودية حواليكم فما ننزل على جنينة لأنه نحن عنا أحفاد.
The Mines Advisory Group is a humanitarian and development and peace-building organization, and our work addresses the causes and deals with the consequences of conflict. You know, we are a recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize for our contribution to the efforts to bring about the banning of anti-personnel mines in 1997, and that treaty has been enormously important to reduce the number of casualties around the world from landmines, but it is under pressure. Right now we work in over 35 countries employing 5,500 staff, and our work is dealing with the immediate and deadly effects that conflict creates. Unexploded ordnance, landmines litter places like Syria, Ukraine, Gaza, and we're responding as an organization to meet those needs.
Since 1989, Mines Advisory Group has helped over 23 million people in more than 70 countries rebuild their lives after war. The organization has played a leading role in the international effort to prevent the use of landmines, saving countless lives, protecting human rights, and contributing to sustainable peace for communities around the world.
But we're also committed and determined to enable communities to prosper in countries where the conflict has long since ended. So you think about conflicts in Southeast Asia, in Southern Africa. But our work has evolved. We're also trying to prevent armed violence through working with states to better manage their arms and their ammunition, so there are less kind of fuel really for future conflicts.
إنه نتخلص من أكثر شيء بحبه بشغلي نتخلص من مخلفات الحرب، وأنا صار لي 10 سنين، بهال10 سنين أنا قدرت أتخلص من كثير أجسام خطرة على حياة الناس، وتصير العالم ترجع تستعمل أرضها بأمن وسلامة.
I'm in awe of the deminers that work for us, that day-to-day dedication, that patience, that perseverance to inch by inch, meter by meter, work to make land safe. So many of the people that we work with are from the communities that we're helping. They know the land that we're clearing. They experience and live through the conflict that we're now trying to address the deadly effects of. That commitment to cause, that personal relationship and pride that they bring to our work, that says everything about the types of people in the organization who are dedicated to our mission and our work.
The selection of Mines Advisory Group as this year's Hilton Humanitarian Prize recipient serves as a reminder that compassion and peace should still be at the top of our global agenda. Through its efforts to help communities return to safety after conflict, Mines Advisory Group exemplifies the kind of humanitarian excellence our prize has sought to celebrate and to inspire over the last 3 decades.
This Hilton Humanitarian Prize is not only a tremendous honor, but also a powerful validation for MAG's mission.
وشفنا منظمة شباب الماج كتير حسينا بالأمان، ونحن شفناهم كيف كتير تعبوا، يعني كانوا كتير مهمين، عطونا الأمان وحسسونا بالأمان ببيتنا وبجنينة، وتركوا فينا كتير أثر حلو.
This prize is really a dream come true for an organization that has always felt like it has led hand to mouth in those contexts, and now we have an opportunity to just do something very different, very transformative for the organization.
From all of us at the Hilton Foundation, congratulations to the entire Mines Advisory Group team for your excellent work.
Wow. Talk about resilience and hope. Congratulations again to our 2025 prize recipient, the Mines Advisory Group. It is now my honor to invite to the stage to present the prize someone very, very special to me. This is someone who grew up within the walls of this most iconic property and has gone on to become an extraordinary, successful businesswoman and philanthropist herself. She also happens to be the great-granddaughter of Conrad Hilton and my first cousin. Guests, please welcome to the stage Nicky Hilton Rothschild.
Good evening. It is an honor to be here with you tonight. For me, this is sort of an emotional and exciting homecoming. I grew up in the Waldorf, Astoria, where my siblings and I raced through the lobby and hallways, making it our very own playground. My sister and I were even nicknamed the Eloises of the Waldorf. Even as a child, I felt the energy and power of this building. On a typical day, you might ride up the elevator with a diplomat and back down with the Rolling Stones or Michael Jackson. Paris and I would sneak into this very ballroom to hide under the tables and see who we could catch a glimpse of, or if there was any leftover gift bags in the closet over there. Returning to this room many years later, I'm reminded not only of my family's history, but also the history of the Waldorf, a gathering place for international collaboration and impact, as Linda mentioned earlier tonight. My great-grandfather Conrad believed deeply that supporting the world's most vulnerable wasn't just charity, it was a collective duty. That belief remains at the heart of the Hilton Foundation today. Conrad's vision has been the driving force behind the Humanitarian Prize for more than 3 decades. I know he would be so proud that the Waldorf Astoria is once again hosting this momentous occasion. Tonight, we honor the 30th prize recipient that I feel so privileged to introduce. Since 1989, the Minds Advisory Group has helped over 23 million people in more than 70 countries rebuild their lives after conflict. Their courageous work directly contributes to lasting peace and security and perfectly embodies the humanitarian action my great-grandfather hoped to inspire. Congratulations to the Minds Advisory Group, the 2025 Conrad N. Hilton Humanitarian Prize recipient. It is my pleasure to welcome Darren Cormack, Chief Executive of Minds Advisory Group, to the stage, along with Rosamund Pike, Janete Milichi, Linda Hilton, and Peter Lawhorn.
Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and I can say this now, our fellow laureates. Kennedy, you mentioned then that you love the jewelry. We too love the jury. Thank you. Land, we do this work because land is more than the soil beneath our feet. It is home and it is hope. It feeds families, nurtures ecosystems, it fuels economies, and it lifts people out of poverty. But in too many places, far too many places, land is laced with danger. Millions of landmines and unexploded bombs remain, silent killers from wars that ended long ago. And a deadly harvest is still being sown today in Ukraine, Nigeria, in Sudan, and Myanmar. Landmines rob families of the right to return. They keep children from learning, workers from earning, and communities from healing. Wherever there are landmines, progress and peace are paralyzed. Landmines trap 60 million people in poverty and fear. And here's a tragic thing. Of the 6,000 casualties in 2023, 80% were civilians, and a third were children. But here's the good news. The challenge we face is finite. We know how to fix it. Since the 1990s, 55 million landmines have been cleared, and 30 countries declared mine-free. This is the power of progress. This is the impact of the Ottawa Treaty, the global ban on anti-personnel mines that we campaigned for, and for which we, with others, received the Nobel Peace Prize. Our staff, most of whom are for the very communities we serve, as you saw there on that video, have helped 22 million people in 70 countries to rebuild their lives from war. When land is clear, a new future beckons. Roads, homes, and water systems can be built. Schools and hospitals reopened. Livelihoods returned. Clearing landmines sends a powerful message. Peace has arrived. This message was brought home to me on a recent visit to Iraq. In a valley that Mag had cleared, an elderly farmer came up to me. He grasped my hands. He had tears in his eyes. His brother had been killed by a landmine there, and for decades they had been able to farm their ancestral lands, trapped in fear, trapped in poverty. He told me that now, at last, it felt like land, like peace had truly arrived, and land was theirs again. That moment reminded me, our work is more than just about recovery. It's also about renewal. We don't just make land safe, we make it home again for communities. So I stand here with enormous, enormous gratitude and humility. To be recognized for this prize is to affirm the rights of that farmer and for all of those suffering from landmines. And tragically, this suffering is global and it's generational. In Vietnam, where war ended 50 years ago, we employ 800 people still clearing bombs. Most of our staff were born long after the last bomb fell. In Syria, a new landmine emergency faces families returning 14 years after conflict. Families desperate to try and rebuild their lives, but they're unable to do so. And right now, our teams are in Sudan, working to launch an emergency response amidst the world's largest humanitarian crisis. And as I think of Sudan or Syria, families desperate to rebuild their lives, but they're unable to do so, I accept this prize with this conviction. Our work is far from finished. Because the hard truth, the desperate truth in times like this, is there's not enough money. There's not enough political will. Only a few nations fund mine action globally. And as governments make difficult decisions, I urge them tonight, as David said earlier, don't step back. Now is the time to step forward. And this is why, in this moment of global uncertainty, the Hilton Humanitarian Prize means so much. You are shining a light in the darkness. For MAG, we will fund emergency response. Too often we are in a desperate race to find a landmine before a child does. You will help us run this race faster. You will help us to innovate, to take risks, to find new ways of reaching landmines before children do. It will help us also to unlock philanthropic support so we can save and change more lives. We will not be deterred in times like this. And I'm pleased tonight to announce that some of this prize money has already been allocated to a new fund, a new funding initiative in honor of Patrick Leahy. This fund, the Patrick Leahy Mine Action Fund, will support emergency response in places of acute need, such as Sudan. And although Senator Leahy can't be with us tonight, on behalf of MAG, I offer him our gratitude for his decades of leadership and unwavering service to communities affected by conflict around the world. Thank you. So finally, once again, thank you. Thank you to the Hilton family, to the Hilton Foundation, and to the Hilton Humanitarian Prize drawers for this profound honor. We are proud, we are so proud to join this family of laureates, and this prize, we promise, will be transformational. It will quite literally save lives. Thank you to our donors and partners, so often standing quietly but steadfastly, helping us run the race that we run. Thank you to Rosamund for your commitment and empathy to us as an organization. But principally, I want to recognize and acknowledge my colleagues, our colleagues around the world, most of whom are from the communities we serve. Thank you. So to our deminers, to our drivers, to the medics, to the accountants, to the administrators, to the cooks, to the cleaners, so many of our staff put their lives on the line, day in, day out, to serve some of the poorest communities around the world. And I'm delighted that two of our colleagues are here tonight. To Krishnaraj from our Sri Lanka program, and to Janete, one of our demining team leaders from Angola. Krish, Janete, this award, it belongs to you and to all of your colleagues. Thank you. So now, it gives me an honor to invite our ambassador, Rosamund Pike, to the stage. Please join us. Thank you, everyone.
Good evening. I'm very proud to be here speaking to you as MAG's ambassador. Let me take you to a demining operations center in Phnom Rai, Cambodia, on a hot afternoon in February. The deminers have been on the road since 5:30 a.m., have reported for work at 6 a.m., collecting their equipment and donning the restrictive protective gear of body armor, heavy boots, and a full-face helmet. They've worked an intense day under the blazing sun, clearing brush and carefully passing metal detectors over the exposed land, listening for that chilling bleep that will indicate something deadly under the soil. I have been with them, dressed in the same hot and heavy gear, watching from a safe distance, awed by the challenge of the difficult terrain, the hard manual labor of ground preparation, followed by the oh so delicate excavation of a mine once the device is found. It is always striking how long it takes for the safe removal of a trap that took mere minutes to lay in the ground. 8 hours later, at the end of the working day, and I am speaking with Sieng Ra, one of the deminers, under the shade of some trees, a secluded grove where he can have the privacy to remove his prosthetic leg, the result of his right leg being shattered by a landmine when retreating from Vietnamese forces near the Thai border in 1990. Sieng Ra was drafted to the army and was not yet 30 when he stepped on a mine, running through the area now known as the K5 minefield. He was catapulted forward. Shrapnel hit his head and left leg. His right leg was completely shattered below the knee. He remained conscious. His unit approached cautiously, detonating mines in the surrounding area so they could reach him, and he was carried to the border where his leg was amputated. And despite a happy marriage, and 6 children, Sieng Ra, on that hot evening, described the struggle of his life. Through tears, a rare moment of vulnerability for a Cambodian in conversation with a stranger, he told me of the discrimination he experienced as an amputee. He described it as a time of intense suffering, where people saw him as lesser, and the only way he could make money was to chop firewood and transport it to people to build their fires. He couldn't get a job he wanted as a construction worker because of his disability. His outpouring of emotion was moving and illuminating, and the intense difficulties and shame he experienced ended when he started working for MAG. His origins at MAG came when he was interviewed to see if he was fit for community liaison, a very important part of our work, gaining trust within a community for our employees. Through that interview, he learned about the demining work, and Sieng Ra decided that he could do more than offer his services in community liaison. He took his bicycle and he rode 2 kilometers to the minefields and presented for work. He was trained as a deminer, and 1 month later, he was out in the field. He has been demining that land where he had his accident ever since. And I asked him whether any of those people who discriminated against him have ever come back and offered respect. And he said they had. He also commented with some pride that he now earns more handsomely than a construction worker. And this pride that Sieng Ra showed was something that I encounter in every single deminer that I meet. In Lebanon, where I have also seen MAG's work firsthand, the pride in this crusade is visceral. Deminers want to unpick the damage done by years of conflict and scour the land for the vestiges of war, be they anti-tank mines, anti-personnel mines, or the randomly scattered cluster munitions, where the pattern of distribution is just impossible to gauge without inch-by-inch investigation. In the minefields laid by foreign armies, I walked the marked safe lines under the care of MAG staff, painfully aware of the animal bones, bleached in the sun, lying inches from the path my feet were walking. Animals blown up by mines, animals who could so easily have been children. I spoke to one family. Their house was surrounded by the minefields. Their fertile agricultural land was lying dormant, planted only with anti-tank and anti-personnel mines. The mother was recalling seeing her 4-year-old son early one morning out in the middle of the field, having jumped from scrubby weed to scrubby weed. This child had, of course, been schooled multiple times in not playing in the danger zone, but this one morning, with the sun shining and no adult yet stirring, he had decided to have an adventure. The terror in his mother as she came outside and saw her son in a field she knew was mined was heart-stopping. She recounted how she encouraged him calmly to retrace his steps, slowly looking for his own footprints, urging him not to put a foot to any side of where he had trodden on his journey out. Her child returned safely. And it struck me as a mother living in England or the US, how we take for granted that if a park or a field looks inviting, we can by and large say, go and play, go and explore. In certain areas of Lebanon, no parent can feel that freedom. In Nabatea, southern Lebanon, I spent time with 2 deminers, Zainab and Zahara, both of them mothers. Their own mothers had tried to stop them doing the work. Then Zainab's 10-year-old daughter had begged her not to. And Zainab explained to me that both her parents and her children now recognize that she has been trained to survive, and she is clearing their homeland with skill and efficiency. And she feels strongly that if she didn't do this work, then other mothers' children would not be safe. These women work in teams, and there is joy in the air as we joke and we chat on the way to the minefields. But once the day's work starts in earnest, they are laser-focused. And I'm so curious. I ask Zainab what she feels when she hears this crying, bleating sound of the detector. At first, scared, she tells me, and then pleased that I have found something. The fear is real. Sometimes she dreams of that detector. But she knows that when fear rises, she can rely on her training and her team. And Zahara concurs. She feels proud. She feels a sense of achievement, a sense of, yes, I got something, particularly when she finds one of the randomly scattered cluster munitions. They are both acutely aware that they are making Lebanon safe. Making the world safe and free from landmines is MAG's mission. I have seen that dedication and commitment firsthand. And I have also seen that this work can be finite. It gives back to communities in such absolute terms. Farmland is restored. Livestock no longer have to be tethered to a house and can roam to further pastures, getting fat and yielding more at market. Harvests from nut trees can be collected without danger. Children can walk to school free from harm, and parents can be freed from their constant sense of dread and jeopardy. Morale is restored, and decades of inherited trauma are eased. But it takes time, it takes training, and it takes money. And when I asked Sieng Ra, that deminer in Cambodia, whether there was anything else he'd like to tell me, he said to please make sure that more funding comes and the work can continue until it is finished. With this generous and important award entrusted to us, we can definitely go a long way to ensuring that and pursue our aim to declare more countries free from landmines. For deminers and communities who live with landmines, war ends years after peace is declared. MAG and its teams fight years after armies have left and soldiers have moved on, trying to avoid other unnecessary deaths. For isn't an explosion in peacetime especially tragic? To tell you this in her own terms, let me hand over to Janete Milichi, part of our team in Angola, whose brave resilience will show you firsthand what our deminers are capable of. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so proud to be here tonight to present my colleagues and represent my community, such as by the home that are affected by the landmines. I'm a deminer. My home is Angola, one of the most landmine affected in the world. Every day, I find and I make safe the landmine that kill men, that prevent us, our plowing of land, that crop growing up, and that trap us in our poverty. That scare our land, and that is our hope. Every day, I lead my team of brave demine into the minefield, and we carefree, safe, carefree. We use our detector to minerals that they find in the ground. Every day, we are in the race to find this landmine before the children dies. And every day, we clear more land and we take another step in our mission to free our community from fears. And these landmines were laid in conflict that became, 50 years ago, a conflict that my family became refugees who ran from the soldiers and their guns. My family fled the war to Zambia. I would have been growing a woman of 20 years. I was returned at last to my homeland again. Today, more than 20 years ago, since the end of the conflict, the landmines remain bare development, and today they still kill people. Now, my life is dedicated to making my homeland safe again. I do this difficult, dangerous work of my 3 beautiful daughters so that they can have the future free from fear, so that they can even pray in safety, go to school in safety, and also their children also they can live in safety. Thank you. I do it for my community and I do it for my country, so that we can put behind us in the terrible regions of conflict, so that we can reap a dividend of peace and we can pursue peace-free development and we ourselves from poverty. And I also do it for myself because I'm proud to call myself a Deminer. And I'm also proud of my team and also to my colleagues. And I'm proud that every day we take another step carefully at our time, our journey to make Angola safe again. And I say this to you tonight, come with us on our journey, come with us as we walk through the minefield of the world, as we take careful steps at a time, and as we make our mission to make the world landmine free again. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the Hilton Prize Laureate community, the Mines Advisory Group.
Felicidades!
Congratulations to Mines Advisory Group, to Darren Cormack for all your bravery and for keeping communities safe from violence.
Our missions are different, but our goal is one, which is to save lives and to reduce the sufferings of people all over the world.
Given the impactful and hugely important work of the Mines Advisory Group, we are all honored to have you as a member of our family.
Your work around the world in war-torn communities is extraordinary and life-saving.
I congratulate and celebrate this important recognition to a fellow humanitarian mine action actor in a time where the international ban on landmines is being questioned.
Wherever I travel in war zones, I see the importance of your work.
This is super exciting. I was a former Youth Action ambassador in Canada on this very issue, so very glad that you can join the Hilton Foundation community.
This recognition of MAG's life-saving work to eradicate landmines is much deserved and should be a wake-up call to the global community.
At this moment, where the world is going through, we need you. You are the sign of hope, peace, and recovery.
Your tireless work cleaning landmines and building safer communities makes this honor meaningful.
No one should live in fear of the ground beneath their feet. From all of us at One Acre Fund, congratulations.
At MSF, we have seen how landmines devastate lives. Congratulations to Mines Advisory Group and Darren Cormack on this well-deserved recognition.
A warm welcome to the Mines Advisory Group into the Hilton Prize Laureate community.
You're joining a large club of, among others, members like IRCC, the International Rehabilitation Council for
for torture victims. We're really happy to have you on board.
SOS Children's Villages welcomes the Minds Advisory Group.
We celebrate your engagement and the impact you continue to have alongside the community you serve.
Thank you, Darren Cormack, for making the world a safer place.
Thank you for putting first things recognizably first and living as though the truth were true.
I want to congratulate the Hilton Foundation on making another fantastic selection for prize winner.
Heifer International congratulates the Minds Advisory Group for its life-saving work.
And a very warm welcome to the Hilton Prize community.
In a time of rising conflict, compassion and peace must lead. That's exactly what you've been doing by alleviating human suffering and restoring hope.
So to all past, present, and future laureates, our congratulations. Thank you.